Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you this beginner-friendly makeup look for any occasion. So let's get started. Starting with a skin tint stick. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect, but any skin tint of your choice I would recommend for a beginner. And I'm just using a dense foundation brush. This one's from e.l.f. It's called the Ultimate Blending Brush, and picking up the product straight at the tip. But again, skin tint would be the easiest. It's going to be the most forgiving if you don't find the right shade. It's going to be very buildable and skin-like. So if you're not needing full coverage, or even if you are, I'd recommend the skin tint as your base. And then you could always use a concealer to cover up any extra imperfections, like acne or dark circles. And you'll see I'm just buffing this in, starting with the center of my face and blending it out. Wherever you put the product first is where you will get the most coverage. So I'm starting from the center. And then using a smaller brush with the same skin tint just to conceal under my eyes and go over any dark spots or acne spots that I would like a little bit more coverage in. If you use a smaller brush, you can be more precise with packing on the coverage. And if you are using a concealer, I would recommend using a concealer that is as close to your foundation color or skin tint color as possible. This way you can use it under the eyes and on any other dark spots or acne marks the way I am. So I'm just going over my chin area. I do have some acne scars there. And I also have some sunspots on top of my cheeks. So I'm going to go over those as well. Just anywhere that I see I want a little bit more coverage without adding too many heavy layers of product. So this will keep it looking very light and very natural. In this video, I'm really only using two brushes as well. So if you are a beginner and you don't have a huge collection of brushes, this look is perfect for you. And I would recommend patting on if you are trying to get more coverage. So the first layer I buffed out just to get a very nice thin, even layer. But now I'm patting it on so that I can get the most coverage in very particular areas. You can just keep building up. This skin tint is very forgiving, so it's going to take a while before it looks cakey or too heavy, which is why I love it so much. And I think it works for all skin types. I'm going over my eyes. We typically have redness or a discoloration over the eyes, so we do want to even that out. And if you're not a master with brows, I find that this step does help to clean them up a little bit as well. If there's any little hairs peeking through, this will kind of cover that up without you having to really go in and actually shape your brows. It just gives that illusion of a cleaner brow. And just double checking, making sure everything looks how I want before I go in with powder. This step really should take the longest. I think the base is what should take the most time, blending and just making sure you're looking at all the details where the other steps don't need to take as long. All right, now I'm going in with a loose translucent setting powder. So you don't want to use a finishing powder or a pressed powder. I really recommend using a loose translucent powder. Patting out any areas that might crease, like under the eyes, just to make sure that those creases are gone before we set it. And I'm taking that same smaller brush to pack in the powder in areas that I really want to press it in and I really want the product to last. So that's going to be around my forehead, under my eyes, my nose, around my chin. Those are usually the places for me where my makeup starts to wear off first. But if you want a little less powder, you can take a very, very fluffy powder brush and just give it a nice even dusting all around the face. If you have more dry skin or more mature skin, that might be a better option for you. But if you do have very oily skin, I do like this method of packing it into the T-zone. And of course, you want to set over the eyes as well because that will start to crease. Now that everything is set, we can start to add some bronzer. So this is not going to be a true contour, but I am placing the bronzer around the places that I would put contour just to help warm and sculpt the face. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 cheat step or a bronze tour, some people call it. And just tapping to blend. And then I'll take the larger foundation brush that still has some product on it to help really soften those edges and blend that out. But we're always tapping and not buffing. And then I'm taking a darker bronzer just to really add some depth to that cheekbone and putting that closer to my hairline so that the lighter shade is warming while the darker shade is giving me a little bit more shape to my face. And I do like using that on my nose. And then I pretty much always add bronzer on my crease as well. Even if I'm going to do an eyeshadow look, it is a good starting point. But if you're not going to do any eyeshadow, that's really all you need is the bronzer. And again, taking that foundation brush to help blend that out. And now we're going with blush, same brush as everything else, and just putting that up high above the bronzer, not dragging it past the tip of my nose and not pulling it in past my pupil. Now we're going to do some eyeliner. For beginners, I recommend a gel or a cream eyeliner and an angled brush. This is going to be the easiest to manipulate and clean up versus a pencil or a liquid liner, in my opinion. And I am doing a wing here. I know if you have maybe deep set or hooded eyes, the idea of a wing might not sound beginner friendly. So it's perfectly fine to just add liner very close to the lash line without doing the flick at the end, just to define the eyes a bit. If you do want to do a wing, even if you have a hooded eye, I recommend looking straight in the mirror and drawing on that line as if your hood is not there. So you want to keep looking straight while you're laying down that initial shape. And then once you're evening out that line, it's fine to look down or to close one eye. But while you're laying down that initial wing shape, if you're trying to get them to be even, keep your eyes open and keep looking straight in the mirror. And I'm just trying to get it as close to my lash line, smudging it out a bit. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, just passable, just something to define the lashes and open up the eyes a bit. So aside from the base, I will say that this probably took the longest, but that's really just because I'm doing the wing rather than just a simple line on top. The quickest way to do something like this would be to add the liner straight across your lash line, and then you can use a Q-tip or just your pinky to smudge it out. So it'll give you like a nice soft smoky look. You don't have to worry about it being too precise. And that's another good thing about using this gel versus a liquid. Now just curling my lashes. If you have really curly lashes, you can skip this step. And just adding 2 coats of my favorite mascara. Nothing fancy, just applying mascara. And you can stop here if you'd like, but I wanted to show 2 lip options. One could be just a nude lip liner, just to define that lip line, and then you can smudge it out and add a gloss and be done with it. Or you can go for a fun color, a bold red or a plum. Today I felt like doing a red. So I'm only going to use a lip liner starting in the center and smudging that out with my pinky just to get a nice soft color, wash of color all over. And then from there, I will start to define the line. So again, if a red lip is not something you're ready for quite yet, a nude lip or a pink lip or just a gloss would also look really nice with this type of look and would be good for any occasion. But if I was doing a red and I wanted to keep it very simple, this is what I would do. So just going over that top line a little bit more precisely. And a trick here is to smile with your mouth closed, stretching out the lips. And then I'm taking that skin tint stick with my brush kind of fanned out just to clean up those edges. And then, of course, we're going to set those edges. And this is going to help the lip last a lot longer. And you'll see I'm also adding the powder directly on top. I just like how this makes the lip a little bit more matte, but it also helps with longevity. So you don't have to worry about finding the most long-lasting product on the planet. This trick helps. So that is it. I hope you guys like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.